Ace is a place with the helpful hardware, folks.
I got my Christmas lights out. They're a huge, tangled, non-working mess.
I showed Dominic our LED light sets. They last longer than traditional lights, and they're on a reel, so they're easier to handle.
Ace is a place that knows nothing takes the joy out of Christmas like untangling lights that don't even light.
Visit your neighborhood Ace now and get $3 in instant savings on select reels of LED holiday lights. Ace Rewards members save instantly in-store. Offer valid through November 30th at participating stores. Store stock only. See store for details. Limit 4.
If you having girl problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. I got the rap patrol on the cat patrol. Foes that want to make sure my casket's closed. Rap critics say he's money cash holes. I'm from the hood, stupid. What type of facts are those? If you grew up with
Get you going early on your Monday morning with a guy that was all over the political headlines this weekend, Jay-Z, and his
really does
99 problems. And we'll see how many problems Hillary Clinton and or Donald Trump have with one day to go. Tomorrow at this time, of course, we'll all be voting, and 48 hours from now, we should know who, in fact, is the next president of the United States. Welcome back, everybody, to the Bernie and Sid Show here on Legendary 77 WABC. Monday morning and the last weekend, Bernard, before the big election.
By the way, yes, you had Jay-Z there. Great song. We all love it, know it. But essentially, Jay-Z sort of, demonizing cops as his wife does, and Hillary Clinton embracing the both of them. And, of course, the guy who refers to women as bitches and hoes constantly, and not on a hot mic. Writes them in the song proudly.
It's music. He's expressing himself.
And apparently Hillary Clinton, she's not familiar with irony or hypocrisy.
Maybe she is.
Yeah. Maybe she is, right. Maybe she is and she doesn't care. Or maybe she thinks we're all just stupid.
Last I checked, she had the 4-point lead. So while we're constantly bashing her for what she's thinking, what she's doing, blah, blah, blah. Well, last I checked, she's got the 4-point lead.
Let me just say that while Jay-Z and Beyonce and Hillary demonized cops, we did have a NYPD sergeant killed in the Bronx over the weekend, responding to a domestic dispute. So, you know what? They can all go F themselves, if you ask me. That's all I could say about it.
Well, I agree with you. It's not going to stop me from voting for Hillary, but I agree that I don't like the rhetoric coming from the left on the police and what they deal with on a daily basis with the people in certain communities. But with that said, I
hate to bring you down, but that's a fact.
No, I don't disagree. I've been very critical about Hillary about that, have I not?
You have.
Listen, there's a lot about Hillary Clinton I despise and can't stand. So I'm not Alan Combs. Alan will sit here and tell you you're crazy. She doesn't do that. I'm not saying that.
But you called it, though. You just mentioned the brand new Fox News poll that just broke. Hillary Clinton up 4 points, 48-44 over Trump.
What I called was last week, and a bunch of guys on Twitter, I'd said Rosenberg, wow, what a call. Those are the same guys that were trying to convince me a week ago the race was over, Trump wins, she's going to prison. What I said a week ago was Jim Comey's got nothing. That's really the big news the last couple of days.
He had nothing, maybe, in this recent revelation from the Anthony Weiner, Huma Abedin episode, but last July, He laid out the case why she was guilty, as you know.
Right, but last July he decided that he was not going to further.
That's true.
And now all of a sudden he comes out 10 days or 11 days before the election. You guys, when I say you guys, I don't mean necessarily you, Bernard, are celebrating in the streets because you think he's got some unbelievable deal he's about to break. And I'm telling you, he's got nothing. And in the end, he had nothing. Or he had something and he wasn't allowed to use it. But either way, he's got nothing.
They leaned on him. Something happened in the background. There's no doubt about it. You had the Attorney General who met with Bill Clinton on a tarmac 4 days before he handed down his idiotic decision. The whole thing stinks.
It does stink.
And all of a sudden, 9 days later, he comes out and he says, never mind.
Right.
This guy needs to be either drug tested or investigated himself.
All we kept hearing about was, anybody you spoke to about Jim Comey was, this guy is honorable. I love this guy. This was back in July. I think now both sides of the aisle, Republicans, Democrats, and even everyday people are going, this guy's a joke.
He is a joke. And remember, though, even though he says she's been cleared, O.J. was acquitted also.
I agree.
And also the Clinton Global Foundation, that continues. That is really
okay, but that's an investigation. As far as I know, the only lawsuit going on has Donald Trump's name on it, not Hillary Clinton, as far as I know.
Over the weekend, it came out. Of course, the Hillary's maid was accessing, printing out, and she was handling classified information. Hillary's maid from I think she's from Peru, or no, the Philippines. Excuse me.
Yeah.
And what are you laughing at? You're laughing at?
No, just funny.
She's also carrying Arnold Schwarzenegger's baby. We learned. But no, listen, and also the WikiLeaks came out. The Clinton Global Foundation paid for Chelsea Clinton's wedding.
Oh, God.
Paid for her wedding.
That's unreal.
I mean, this is sleazy.
Right.
So come on.
Oh, but it's not sleazy when your foundation pays for a portrait to put in your golf store inside your golf course, right?
This is
it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It's corruption on a massive scale.
Well, no, it's probably more money, and they were better at it because they had the people to go to.
Well, let me just say,
but it's the same thing.
They raped Haiti, and 20% of our uranium. And by that, people don't realize it's a finite amount of uranium on the planet Earth. 20% of what we had, she allowed to go to Russia for money. So it affects our national security as well.
No, it doesn't.
You can say that, but that's fine. That is just fine. But anyway.
The problem is in 48 hours, if he loses, and I did tell you this morning that I'm not convinced he's going to lose. I think it's a long shot, even longer than maybe even Anthony Mason talked about at IMS this morning, that long. But if he does lose in 48 hours, the uranium, the WikiLeaks, the Clinton Foundation, that all becomes what? What does that become?
Well, hopefully and I believe the Congress will remain in Republican hands, and it becomes, the investigation continues. The FBI investigation into the foundation continues, and perhaps you have a president who gets indicted and impeached.
But nothing changes for you because at that point, Tim Kaine would assume it's not like all of a sudden they're going to call Donald Trump
back. You asked me what happened. I'm telling you, that's what happened.
But I understand. I understand.
That should scare people even more. Yes, that could happen. Tim Kaine, creepy clown Kaine, could be your next president because of this sleazy, corrupt candidate you're going to vote for. Some of you folks out there who will vote for Hillary.
Including me.
I'm not talking about the Trump supporters.
But including me.
Obviously.
Right.
And, so anyway, Trump's going to be all over the place. Look, I know what the national poll just came out from Fox News, but there is, as I mentioned earlier this morning on the Imus in the Morning Show, which you'll hear a lot from now on because Sid and I are both on the show. Sid joined the Imus in the Morning Show this morning and did a fantastic job. Welcome to the show.
It was great to be back, and you were fun. Thank you. I love you, too. It was fun. It was fun to be back. It really was.
How does it feel to wake up at like 3?
Yeah, it was fine. I get up early in the morning anyway, so usually I get about 3 o'clock to piss. So this time I just got dressed.
1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-WABC. That's the number. Call us. Tell us what you think about what you're feeling on the election. But I would also say this, Sid.
Go ahead.
Everybody's talking about the Electoral College now. The Comey thing is over.
Right.
The investigation stuff is over. The issues have long been gone. Nobody's talking about the issues. I mean, now there's some ridiculous ad out that Trump put out that they tried to make a case that it was anti-Semitic. We can get into that later.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, am I
You're 100% right. You're 100% right.
The longest reach. Yet Jake Tapper yesterday, he actually asked Kellyanne Conway, wasted like 5 minutes on it with Kellyanne Conway, and then CNN all night obsessing over it. Unbelievable. Anyway, you have that.
I like to watch the map deal. That's it. Can he get to 270?
That's where we are.
Right.
The map.
I mean, if he wins, Iowa and Ohio, a few other places, even if he wins Florida, which he's got to. See, here's the deal with Donald Trump. He needs to win states or he's done. She doesn't, which obviously makes it easier for her. Even if he wins Florida and North Carolina, that gets him to 259. He still at that point has to win a Michigan or a Virginia
or a Pennsylvania
or a Wisconsin. I mean, you got to understand, if he wins the states right now that are close and he loses by a hair, he's done.
Right.
And she's not.
Listen, but again, as I mentioned, you have something's happening because Ohio was supposed to be a swing state, a battleground state. It's definitely going Trump. I mean, Hillary's conceded it, Ohio. So there is something. So what happened to the people of Ohio that they all of a sudden switched to? They're part of the so-called Rust Belt. They're part of that movement that Michael Moore talked about.
Maybe.
And that same thing is happening in Michigan.
Yeah, but Michael, he's getting killed in Michigan.
No, well, you have Hillary Clinton going to Michigan and Bill Clinton going to Michigan. I believe today. Both
That's fine. She's got a nice size lead there.
No, but they're worried. They see something happening.
No, they're not worried.
I'm keeping hope alive.
That's fine.
You don't think they're worried?
No, I think what they're doing, not there, but I think they are worried in other places. I think what they're doing is making sure. Just make sure.
Make sure. Pennsylvania,
absolutely.
Where Hillary was yesterday morning at a black mass. They're calling it Souls to the Polls.
You love this stuff.
As a matter of fact, I think we have a clip. Cut eight of Hillary at the Philadelphia Black.
I don't feel no ways tired. I come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me that the road would be easy.
Apparently she didn't hear that was offensive the first time around.
Offensive to who? Jay-Z's voting for it. Tony's voting for it. All the blacks are voting for it. Who's offended?
Listen, ignorance is bliss.
Right.
Ignorance is totally bliss.
What happened was Donald Trump offended the Mexicans. So he's getting murdered in the Latino vote. And all these things you play about Hillary, where she offends people, they're voting for her. Well, so what's the problem? Why is she getting the votes when she says something offensive and he's not?
They're voting for the wrong candidate. The candidate who's wrong on all the issues, who demonizes cops, who's for open borders, that's going to take these poor people's jobs. They don't even realize it.
They don't.
No, exactly right. Ignorance is bliss. Now, also, as I was saying about Florida, Trump is going to win Florida.
No. That's close. And every day he's in trouble because of the Latino vote in Florida, which she was winning, he was winning, and now she's caught him in about a dead heat.
Well, the Hispanic growth in Florida has increased.
Yes, I know. I live there.
With like Puerto Ricans and stuff like that.
And that kills Trump.
Still, a lot of old white folks still moving to Florida as well.
True, but
they vote.
I understand that. And that's his only hope at this point. Remember, we talked all along about how the minorities would not vote for Donald Trump, and you were telling me, the guy would call from Washington Heights, Enrique and all of his friends, and my mother and her friends, and I would warn people, stop with these anecdotal stories. He's going to get killed with the minorities. Guess what? He's getting killed with the minorities.
No, he's got a bigger. Of course, the Republicans always lose with the minorities, but as far as the black vote goes, he's doing way better than Mitt Romney.
The black vote's not even there yet. The black folks are barely voting
in the polls.
Why do Republicans always lose with minorities?
Because they're racist.
No, because they're
racist.
They're lied to every 4 years.
They're racist.
And that's what happens. They drag out. Listen, you had Obama last week trying to link Donald Trump to the KKK. I mean, you talk about desperation and filthy.
He did have lunch with David Duke, did he not?
And they say, hey,
maybe didn't.
When they go low, we go high. Meanwhile, linking Donald Trump to the KKK.
Didn't Obama promise everybody jobs and it's at its lowest rate? So nothing changed.
No, that's not true.
Nothing changed at all.
Incredible job.
No hope, no change. But Donald Trump is offering that. And hopefully he'll deliver. 1-800-848-922. Bernie, instead of the crook. 1-800-848-9222. Bernie, and sit back after this. Here we go, baby. Let's get loud. Back on the Bernie and Sid show on 77 WABC.
She looks better every year that goes by.
She looks great, man. She looks fantastic.
Jennifer Lopez, hasn't aged. I mean, amazingly. And if you look back at the old videos when she was a fly girl, she's so much prettier now.
In living color.
Right. She's so much prettier now. It's amazing.
You see that? Women, as they age, like a fine wine, they
only some.
She's like Benjamin Button.
But let me just, I hate to be the turd in the punch bowl. I mean, Hillary Clinton, and after what Trump said, everybody's ranting and raving about, objectifying women. Doesn't J-Lo objectify herself? And I love it.
100%. 100%.
So.
Hypocrisy?
Yeah. Irony, hypocrisy.
All of it.
Are they oblivious to it, or I don't know?
No, they don't care.
Hey, Emily from Oyster Bay, Long Island. You're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Emily.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Oh, TGIM. That's my motto.
So I am so sad that this is the state of the country, that this is what it has come down to. I mean, we're basically going to elect a criminal to be a president.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
And what about all the celebrities that are supporting her and raising money for her?
Idiots.
I mean, is that what's the future of this country? Where are we going to be 4, 5, even 20 years from now?
Well, Emily, I would say that it is sad, and I would also tell you that it is an indictment of the Republican Party when the guy that they're putting up there is the best they can do, and he has been. I'll let you talk. Yes, he has been a buffoon. Has done nothing but insult people, come up with a couple of decent ideas they never really articulated. So the fact is, she is a criminal. She's a horrible candidate, but it goes to show you how bad of a candidate he is that he's going to lose.
But even worse, Emily, it's the fact that she's a criminal. Even worse than that, she on the issues, she's horribly wrong on more damaging on open borders, on
in your estimation,
on the Syrian refugees, dangerous Muslim immigration. Right. At least Donald Trump, his whole motto is America First.
Right. Which is nonsense. It means nothing. Mottos are very cute.
Why didn't the Clinton Global Foundation, why wasn't it named the Clinton American Foundation? Because they don't care. They don't care. They don't put America first.
Oh,
that's their whole motto, mantra. Hey, Ezra from Forest Hills. Ezra is on with Bernie and say good morning. Ezra.
Hello.
Hi, I just wanted to make a comment about Florida. The fact that Janet Reno passed away yesterday, I think it will help Donald Trump with the Cuban votes, because it's going to remind them about the Elian Gonzalez situation.
That is a great point, Ezra. Fantastic. Elian Gonzalez. Tell us about Elian Gonzalez.
Elian Gonzalez was a Hispanic kid that was rescued at sea, and basically the Cuban community wanted to adopt him, and he was forced to go back to Cuba.
They ripped him out of his family's home in Cuba. It was the most horrible, heart-wrenching scene. Janet Reno ordered it, sanctioned by Bill Clinton. And because Fidel Castro demanded to have him back, they acquiesced and let him and forced him back to Cuba. Yeah, it was disgusting. Yes. That is a great point.
Yes, and I think there is still time since the election is Tuesday, it's going to be covered today in Florida, and it may help actually Donald Trump tremendously.
See, here's the bad news, though. Even if you're right, Ezra, you may be right. It's a very, very fair point. And let's say Trump wins Florida. See, here's again the issue you have to understand. If he doesn't win Florida, he's toast. If he wins Florida, he still has a long way to win the election. It's not like Florida is going to decide it. It only will decide it if he loses it. That's how behind the 278 ball your candidate is.
By the way, Janet Reno, also the dummy who she ordered the raid on the Waco compound.
Yeah, I know.
She killed like a dozen scores of kids to save them.
I know.
That's how stupid she was.
She did do that.
And I hate to say it, too.
Koresh had a bunch of those kids in there.
He had a bunch of and she killed the kids to say she could never explain that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a really stain over her tenure.
Oh, I would say so.
And also listen. She died. Can you pick a worse time to die? I mentioned this morning. Then, like the day or two before the biggest election in the history of the country.
Can you pick a worse time? I'll tell you who would say you could pick a worse time.
Who?
Joe Beningo.
Oh, yeah. Well, listen.
If the Jets ever made it to the Super Bowl, if they're not getting there since 1969, and they're ready to play in the Super Bowl, and you die Saturday night.
As I said this morning, if you were watching the Cubs-Indians at the top of the ninth and you're a Cubs fan and you died then, that's what it was like with Janet Reno passing away yesterday. 1-800-848-9222. We have John Roberts traveling with the Trump campaign coming up next on Bernie and Sid Afternoon with the News.
77 WABC. 848 WABC, where New York comes to talk. 77 WABC.
We just heard Jennifer perform Let's Get Loud. Well, I say let's get loud at the voting booth.
Isn't she great?
Back on the Bernie and Sid show on 77 WABC. That was Hillary Clinton in Florida over the weekend, right after Jennifer Lopez performed a free concert.
Yeah, she loves it.
The place was packed.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, John Roberts on the line with us right now. He's a Fox News national correspondent, a good guy. He's traveling with the Trump campaign. Good morning, John. Mr. Roberts. Hey, that was a movie.
That was a great movie. Jimmy Cagney, if I'm correct, right?
That's right. Yeah. Henry Fonda.
With the tree, the little pineapple tree.
Jack Lemmon. You remember that?
Who did it?
Yes, who did that?
Great movie.
What was his name? Henry Fonda's character.
Come on. I should know.
What the hell was it?
God.
Damn. Mr. Roberts.
Mr. Roberts. Where is John?
That's the name of the movie.
Is John there?
So John. Anyway,
Hang on, I'm calling him back.
John is traveling. Yes, and
he actually knows something about the state. Talking about the state of Florida with J. Lo and Hillary. He worked down in Miami at WFOR, the CBS station, for a little while.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he's been all over the world. John Roberts is a seasoned guy.
He was with CNN for a long time. I know that.
Yes.
And he's based now in Atlanta for Fox News. But
is that right?
He is.
He's in Atlanta?
He's in Atlanta, but everybody, takes on a different assignment for a special election such as this.
Keeps going to his voicemail. I think he's pissed. We kept him on hold. I'll keep trying.
Oh, John. Okay, well, you know what?
Take a couple of calls, and then maybe John will...
Absolutely right.
Right, let's go to... let's start with John in Syosset, Long Island. Good morning, Johnny.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Sid, it's been a long time. The last time we were together, I was in the studio with you trying to win tickets for my New York Giants.
Did you win them?
Yeah, I ate a box of double dogs out of your underwear. I better.
All right. Hey, thanks for the call, John.
It's actually really
Let's
funny.
go to John Roberts now. John Roberts from Fox News, traveling with the Trump campaign. Good morning, John.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
You sound great.
Sorry about that. So listen, first of all, John, thanks for appearing. And second of all, where are you this morning?
I'm in Sarasota, Florida, at the Robarts, not the Roberts, the Robarts Arena. I'm starting a Kickstarter fundraising drive to change the A to an E, but with my luck, it'll end up the Robarts E-Arena as opposed to the Roberts Arena. Hey, I got to tell you, Donald, we're hearing rumors, and we haven't confirmed this yet, that Donald Trump has been looking at Hillary Clinton with all these superstars out on the road, is worried that she's gaining momentum, so he's been taking guitar lessons. He's going to get up on stage and play.
Really?
See, that makes sense. So listen.
No, I kid.
I know. So you're down in Florida, and I know that you worked down at CBS down in Miami years ago, John, as I did. I spent more than a decade working in Florida as well. You know that state. Seems that Donald has had some momentum recently, but the Latino vote down there will be huge for Hillary. It's a big deal for Donald to win that state. If he doesn't, he loses the election, quite frankly. What do you feel like is going to happen down in that state?
I mean, it's true that if he doesn't win Florida, he's done, because it's got 29 electoral votes. It's the big prize here. And there has been a big turnout in Broward County and in Miami-Dade, which are two of the places where you see the highest Hispanic population. And the Democratic vote, at least the registered Democratic vote, is way up above the Republican vote. But there's a lot of other places in the state as well that have been coming out heavily Republican. And if you look at the aggregate of the absentee or mail-in ballots and then the in-person early vote, 6.4 million people have cast ballots. Registered Democrats are ahead of Republicans by about 32,000. That's only a half of 1 percentage point. And there's still at least 2 million people in the voter pool if you look at how many people voted in 2012. So the Trump campaign thinks that there are still a lot of votes out there. And remember, historically, Democrats dominate in the early vote, but Republicans dominate on the day, which is why Trump is starting his day here in Florida.
And so, listen, we just had a caller, John Roberts from Fox News. He just said that the Janet Reno just passing away will remind voters of what the Democrats did, the Clintons did essentially to Elian Gonzalez. So that might actually help him with the Hispanic vote down in Florida. What do you think?
I mean, anything that can turn a vote one way or another on a day creates some form of momentum, for a candidate, can really help them out on election day. I don't know how much that would play into it, but, in a state as close as Florida, when you consider that it's only 0.5% separating them in the early vote, just a few votes here or there could change the fortunes of one.
I think he'd be better off if he wants to win that state. If Elian Gonzalez walk out in a Miami Hurricane or Miami Dolphin hat, he's got a better chance. How about that?
Yeah, potentially.
Hey, listen, John, Director Comey, FBI Director James Comey, has been compared to J. Edgar Hoover, who was, he was confused about his wardrobe. What is James Comey's problem? What is it, and how is the Trump campaign handling this latest announcement from James Comey yesterday?
Well, unlike J. Edgar Hoover, wardrobe definitely isn't a problem for James Comey. He's always looking sharp.
Right.
What it does is it really it almost reinforces again the argument that Donald Trump has been making that the whole system is rigged. He did an about-face on Comey. Obviously, he was getting some traction out of this idea that the investigation into Hillary Clinton's emails was being reopened. But now that Comey has gone the other way, back to where he was in June, I think Trump will be able to in the next 18 hours on the campaign trail, say, see what I told you? The system was rigged. The only way that you can unrig the system is to vote against it. The only way to vote against it is to vote for me on November the 8th. So I think either way, if the investigation had kept going, I think that worked in Trump's favor. But being almost shut down again, I think that works in Trump's favor as well.
But let me play devil's advocate, John, because you are with Trump. You're following that campaign. I'm not saying you're in his camp and you're outwardly rooting for him, but let me say this as somebody voting for Hillary. What this does for us is it reinforces that Trump's whole campaign is based on something bad happening to Hillary, that in fact he hasn't done anything by himself to earn a victory here. And what this does is reinforce that this witch hunt for years by Comey really has amounted to nothing. What about that side of the equation? Aha!
He hated your question.
See? He couldn't even answer it. He dropped off. He's like, I can't answer that. He's got me.
No, he said, that was so stupid, I got to get off the line.
He got me. He got me. Where'd he go?
No, he left. But
what's the deal with his phone? John,
this is
John Roberts.
It's Donald Trump. They're on the move. It's not like Hillary, sleeping, waiting outside her home for her to get up from the nap.
She can do that. She's got the lead.
He's actually got to go at a last minute's notice.
Of course, because he's losing.
The Jets leaving. Let's go, John. Come on.
It did sound very busy there, wherever he was, right?
It sounded extremely busy. But so anyway, Trump, just to fill you in, Trump is traveling to 5 places.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
Hillary's traveling to 2 places.
Right, she's winning. You keep, Trump gets 1 billion people at his rallies. Trump travels. He's the Energizer bunny. How does he do it? Nobody.
That's who
impressed.
you want, man. We want a guy like that in the White House.
Yeah, just what we want.
Working for us instead of taking a nap and then stealing from us. That's what we want in the White House, for God's sakes.
When you put it like that, instead of taking a nap and stealing,
did I win you over?
It's funny, Yeah.
Well.
What are you going to do?
I don't know. Well, first of all, you had Kellyanne Conway and Newt Gingrich confidently predicting that Trump is going to win.
Well, that's so
they have their own internal polls.
Well, of course they do.
And so do the Clintons.
Right.
Which is why she's going to Michigan. And why they're focused on Pennsylvania. They're nervous. Remember a couple of weeks ago they were arrogantly, they were so cocky. Hey, we're going to campaign in Texas and Georgia.
Yes,
we're going to take some Republican states.
I'm going to disagree with the word.
That's not happening.
I'm going to disagree with the word nervous. I think that's an exaggeration.
Did you see Bill Maher?
But I'd say concerned. And you're right. Those states specifically, because listen, as we talked about earlier, if Donald Trump gets Florida and North Carolina and Ohio and Iowa, those states, one of those blue states, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, that can put him over the top. The Clintons are aware of that. So yes. I'll give you concerned. I'm not giving you nervous. I'll give you concerned.
Let me just get Bill Maher was crapping his pants on the air on Friday over the weekend. For the first time, CNN had Hillary down below 270, the amount needed in the Electoral College to win the presidency. For the first time, you should have seen the look on his face.
I'm sure. Well, he's got a lot. He's so invested because he's such a liberal. He's so out there that he needs to be.
It was like the look on his face was like the hooker showed up in the room,
right.
took the dress off, and it had a big thing hanging down between his legs.
Yeah, that's no
fun. He
fun.
had that look. No, seriously, he was beside himself.
I think Hillary supporters at this point are being realistic. It's not over. I'm telling you that. I mean, I give Trump a glimmer of hope. I think we're still very confident. But I think there's no reason to completely count Donald Trump out. But I think nervous is a huge stretch.
1-800-848-9222. Bernie and Sid back after this.
77 WABC. Traffic and Transit.
I got to find it, Crash. I got Kazarai all over the place. You know what that means, Crash? Kazarai, you know what that means?
It means you're a mess. What's going on?
I found
pig,
it.
Right? Pig house?
Yes, basically.
My kids' room, okay.
There you go. Hey, folks, I got a big night coming up, and I'm inviting all of you. I really want to see all of you out there, even you guys that hate me out there, you horrible deplorables. Come on out. It's Sid Sports and Stuff. It's a big night, Monday, November the 28th. It's at a great restaurant, New York Yankee Steakhouse. That's on West 51st Street in Midtown Manhattan. If you're a diehard Yankee fan, you're going to love it. With all the Yankee, dinnerware and signature walls and all that cool stuff. I'm going to host a night of sports trivia, steak, guest athletes, special surprise guests, and great prizes. In fact, already slated to come, Steve Sharippa, star of Sopranos and Blue Bloods, Chance Palminteri, his new musical coming out after the great movie and Broadway show A Bronx Tale. Congressman Peter King will be there, Kimberly Guilfoyle from Fox News, Teddy Atlas, and a host of others. It's going to be a great night. Make your reservations today. You can find the forms online at WABCRadio.com, or you can make a phone call right now, 212-613-3848. It's going to be a great night. Again, if you're a sports fan and a politics fan, you're going to get the best of all of it, plus a great steak. It's Monday, November the 28th at New York Yankee Steakhouse on West 51st Street in Midtown Manhattan.
Back on the Bernie and Sid show on 77 WABC. Let's go straight to Danny from Long Island. Danny, you're on with Bernie and Sid. Good morning, yo.
Yeah, how you doing? I'm just saying, when he was attacking the Spanish people, what do you expect? How they gonna react? We're gonna be celebrating that he's trying to deport everybody. Once he attacked Mexico, he attacked every Spanish country out there. That's why we are like angry, and we're gonna turn out. You see, the states that used to be red is turning blue. And he's gonna lose Florida too, because Orlando is full of Puerto Ricans.
Yeah, a lot of Puerto Ricans in Florida, a lot of influx of Puerto Ricans, but
right. So that's why Florida is flipping into blue.
Here's my rebuttal to that, which is that Trump is for Latinos, legal Latinos that are here, even the illegal Latinos that are working here. And he wants to seal the border.
They hate him.
And I guarantee you he won't deport the ones that are here. He just doesn't want to continue. He wants to stop the bleeding. That's what he wants to do.
They hate him.
And he wants fair trade deals for American workers. There's nothing wrong with that. Bernie and Sid, back after this.
President Obama, my name is Danny Williams. I am the son of former President Bill Clinton. I'm reaching out to you today because I know you can understand me. You also grew up without a father. I also went to the National Press Club in Washington, where I appealed to Miss Monica Lewinsky, hoping that she would provide a sample from her famous blue dress. Sadly, I have heard nothing back.
Damn.
Well, there he is, Bill Clinton's illegitimate son, at least allegedly, Danny Williams, as we start off hour number 2 of the Bernie and Sid show right here on 77 WABC. Had a great first hour. Talked to John Roberts.
By the way, why isn't Bill Clinton providing the DNA? He could just disprove it in a flash.
He's not going to waste it. Stop it. He's not going to waste
it. That
his
kid
time.
is every bit as credible as any one of the 15th women who came out with these 11th hour allegations against Donald Trump.
Okay, but Donald Trump,
because he's black?
Yes. Donald Trump's not providing any bodily fluids to prove that he's innocent.
No, there's nothing to prove there.
Well, there's nothing to prove here either.
You could easily disprove this kid's allegations. Who looks uncannily like
they have been
the former president.
They have been disproven, but we keep going because it's funny.
You know, we have a guest on the line right now.
You want Mike Emanuel to disprove it? He'll do it.
We have a great Fox News correspondent and a local guy. He's from New Jersey and a really good guy. Mike Emanuel, Fox News. He's traveling with the Hillary campaign.
Yes,
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, gentlemen. Great to be with you. An honor and a privilege. Good morning from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where Hillary Clinton is making her first election eve stop ahead of the big day tomorrow.
Well, tell her not to do what Donald Trump did a couple of weeks ago in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If she really wants the women vote, don't go out there and talk about how great it is to play golf with Ben Roethlisberger.
or to get back on stage with a guy like Jay-Z who calls women the B word and the H word and all that stuff and drops the F-bomb. Either one of the two. If you pass along that advice from us, Mike, we'd appreciate it.
All right. I'm sure they'll listen. And by the way, as a guy from the Garden State, I feel obligated to mention that 2 Jersey boys are going to be on stage with her tonight, Springsteen and Bon Jovi, at the event in Philadelphia with President Obama and the First Lady. So really trying to pull out all the stops here in Pennsylvania to make sure a state that has not voted for a Republican for president since 1988, George Herbert Walker Bush, they're trying to make sure it stays in the Democratic column, part of that so-called blue wall of states that Democrats, can typically count on.
But it's not just Pennsylvania, Mike Emanuel, we're talking about here with Springsteen and Bon Jovi tonight. They're kind of pulling out all the stops all weekend long. Going back to what Bernard is talking about, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Katy Perry, LeBron James in Cleveland introducing Hillary Clinton. Are they doing that to reinforce what they think is a decent lead? Or in fact, do you think you're around them, the Clintons are nervous?
That's a brilliant question. And what I would say is, one, I think she has really struggled with young voters. And so you've seen her trying to get, Bernie Sanders out to try and help her because he was popular with young voters. And I think, the Jay-Z's of the world, the Beyoncé's of the world, not only appeal to an African-American audience, but appeal to a young voter audience. And so that has been an area of struggle. And I think there's a big concern in the Clinton campaign that if younger voters don't turn out in the models that they are hoping for, this could flip the race upside down tomorrow. And so there was some talk that she's trailing pretty substantially in Iowa. We'll see how it plays out tomorrow. But part of the thought of that was that young voters were going to stay home. And so I think some of the celebrity stuff is about trying to get those young voters, in the case of LeBron and Beyonce and Jay-Z, trying to get the young African-American voters to turn out similar to the way they did for President Obama. He's certainly trying his heart out. He's going to the University of Michigan today in what should be a friendly Democratic state to try to get those young voters as well. And so it's been elusive for Hillary so far. What is not clear to me is whether these people can pass their personal popularity onto her.
Yeah, that's the question. A lot of the analysts I have seen over the weekend said that really doesn't work. But, for example, you had Bon Jovi campaign for John Kerry, specifically in Ohio in 2004. Not only did Kerry lose the election, he lost big in Ohio in 2004. So what you just said, your last comment may be insightful. But I would also ask you, Mike Emanuel from Fox News, is it not also an effort to counter the disenfranchised voters that she lost, the blue-collar workers in the Rust Belt, the coal miners, et cetera, et cetera. In Ohio and Michigan, for example, Trump is going to win Ohio. It had been a battleground state. He's going to win. And now, as Sid pointed out, she's worried about Michigan. And all those people who appeal to Bernie Sanders who are not going to come out for her.
Well, yeah, I think there's legitimate concern on the Democratic side about Pennsylvania and Michigan. If you're wondering why I'm saying that, just look at her travel schedule. She's making 2 stops in Pennsylvania today, Pittsburgh, where I am, and then later in Philadelphia. She's going back to Michigan. Her husband went to Michigan yesterday. She was in Michigan on Friday. President Obama is going to the University of Michigan. If they thought that they were going to blow out Trump in these typically blue Democratic states, they could go elsewhere today. But she's making 2 stops in Pennsylvania, 1 in Michigan, and she's sending in the Army basically into Michigan as well and really pulling out all the stops here in Pennsylvania. So that suggests to me that there is at least some concern about whether the white working class voters all go for Donald Trump and whether young voters stay home. Do they have a problem on their hands on these states that have been automatic Democratic states since 1988?
See, but the verbiage matters because, for example, Trump supporters go, she's nervous, she's scared, she's panicking. And you just said concern, which is the word, ironically, I used with Bernard in the first hour, Mike. Of course she's concerned. These are not blowouts in any of these states. And I don't believe the election is going to be a blowout, but she is winning. Now, that doesn't mean she's going to win, but she is winning. So if we're going to articulate it correctly the day before, it's concern, not panic.
Yeah, I think here's a plug. The latest Fox News poll out just an hour ago has Clinton up 4 nationally. So if that holds true, then, she should win tomorrow night. But this whole Trump phenomenon has been flipping the whole political, establishment upside down. And a lot of the traditional formulas have been off base.
But Mike, is it the whole Trump phenomenon? Because, and again, I'm endorsing Hillary, so I may be a bit biased. He hasn't done anything for months. He really hasn't. It's almost like he's waiting for another email to drop. He has not articulated any of his issues any better the last 60 or 90 days. In fact, he's been worse in the debates. It seems like it's less of a Trump phenomenon and more of a, here comes Jim Comey, here comes another email scandal. More of her scandals than the Trump phenomenon. What do you think about that?
Well, Sid, you make some interesting points there.
Not good ones, though.
Excellent ones.
Well,
Thank you.
We'll see how they all play out tomorrow night. But I think to a certain degree, Trump has been more disciplined in the past couple of weeks. He's been sticking to what his advisors want him to talk about. They've kept him off Twitter, which is probably a good move ahead of Election Day. And so he's been more disciplined in drilling home a lot of his key points. Look, I think there's a certain segment of the population and traveling outside of Washington, D.C., you see a lot of parts of the country where the economy is just not moving. There's not much happening. And I think there are a lot of people who are just sick of the status quo in this election who say, we've seen her for 30 years. We know her. We respect her experience. But we just got to change. It's not working for us. We don't have hope. Our salaries are not going up in the middle class. And so, we'll see how that plays out. Trump has talked about this will be Brexit times 10, that vote in the United Kingdom. We'll see. If a bunch of people come out of the woodwork who have not been answering the phone calls from pollsters and suddenly vote Trump, well, that could flip everything upside down. I'm not predicting it. I don't do predictions. I'm just, covering the news. But, we'll see how it works.
Mike Emanuel from Fox News on the Bernie and Sid show. Has Hillary been talking about the latest weird Jim Comey flip-flop, the FBI director? And I ask you that question because last hour we had your colleague on, John Roberts, who said that even this latest announcement actually may redound to Trump's benefit in that it allows him to say again, the system is rigged. Has she been talking about it? And what has she been saying?
Well, the fascinating thing is she has not said one word about it.
Maybe John's right.
Zero. So perhaps she thinks if I mention emails, if I mention FBI, it just drags me down. It reminds people of the controversies around me. Her communications director, Jen Palmieri, came out and expressed relief, basically saying, we're glad that they found this and we're ready to move on and that sort of thing. She was eager to turn the page, as you can imagine. But Hillary Clinton herself has not mentioned it at all. And so,
well, why would she? Why would she? She, like you said, it's
she was cleared. She was cleared. That's why.
Right.
You would think that she would mention it.
No, it's a negative story to begin with. Whether you're cleared or not, you'd rather the thing go away than remind people that there was an investigation. It makes total sense.
Interesting.
But she was cleared. Say it again so I can hear you say it again, Bernard.
She was cleared.
Right. Cleared.
Hey, Mike Emanuel, listen. She's making 2 stops today. Now, the rap on her from Trump is that she's low energy. She doesn't have the stamina. He made 5 stops yesterday. I think Saturday as well. 5 more stops today. She's only making 2 stops. Is there a stamina issue, and why isn't she making more stops?
That's a great question, and I think to be fair, he's the guy who's trailing right now, if you listen to the poll.
Right.
So he's trying to push as many buttons as he can to see where he can, find some magic. He's going to Minnesota. A lot of people think that's crazy that Minnesota hasn't gone Republican in ages, but he's trying to do anything he can to tap a little magic before Election Day and also to say, tomorrow night or Wednesday morning, if it doesn't go his way, to say, I did everything I possibly could.
Mm-hmm.
Her position is she's trying to hold together, the traditional Democratic states today, and so she's going 2 stops in Pennsylvania, 1 in Michigan, and then a late-night rally in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Typical Democrat. She's lazy.
Well, she's winning. No, she's not lazy.
I'm kidding.
No, I know you are. But, Mike, Bernard is kidding. But what these people don't understand is they equate large turnout to Trump's rallies like he's got more voters. And what they don't get is that there is a little bit of, we're winning, we're going to be okay. And she's kind of boring anyway, to be honest with you. So I'm not going to go see her. Trump's rallies are loaded with people because I compare it to a hockey fan, Mike, in that there are less hockey fans than football fans, but hockey fans show up at 97% and they're rabid. That's the Trump supporters. They may be less than the Hillary fans, but they are out there and they're rabid and they want him to win, so they show up in bigger numbers.
Look, there's definitely energy on the Trump side in terms of he's tapped into something. When you compare Hillary Clinton to Barack Obama, who was the big candidate of 8 years ago, there's no comparison. I mean, he was a rock star on the campaign trail. He really drove the huge crowds. He had the big numbers. But as we've seen over the years, sometimes the huge crowds don't translate into election wins. I remember Mitt Romney 4 years ago had some big crowds and did not become President Romney. And so, we'll see. Everybody's always looking at this point for any signs of, the race shifting one way or the other. Obviously, we're down to Election Day tomorrow. We'll be doing, round-the-clock coverage through tomorrow night, and so we'll be looking for any movement. But at this point, it's kind of hard to say whether a huge crowd means you're going to win a certain place. If you're getting the huge crowds, obviously you want to celebrate that and show everybody, look, we're getting 10,000, 20,000 people, but I don't know for sure whether that's going to translate into a win because perhaps he's more exciting and unpredictable on the campaign trail, and perhaps she's the establishment candidate that people have known for 30 years.
And Mike Emanuel, my last question. Mike Emanuel from Fox News, traveling with the Hillary Clinton campaign in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania this morning. Mike, now that Comey has come out and he's quote-unquote cleared Hillary Clinton of any illegalities, has Huma Abedin been allowed back on the campaign plane or trail or anywhere near Hillary Clinton? Or where's Huma?
She is not around.
What?
She's keeping a very low profile.
Are they keeping her down, do you think?
Oh, that's, it may be a reminder of the controversy, and so she has not been on the campaign plane since the news broke a week ago Friday.
That's smart.
In Iowa.
That's smart.
So she's been away. She headlined a fundraiser for Hillary Clinton with a bunch of supporters in D.C. last week, and other than that, we really have not seen her. The campaign says they still, are fond of her. She's still a trusted advisor. But
second daughter, I think Hillary described her as.
Yeah, she's off the trail for now.
So she's punished. Even my daughter. I punish my daughter once in a while, too, when she's being a bad girl. All right, last one. We're talking about minorities here, and that is going to be the thing that's going to get Hillary the win. We know that. She's crushing it with Latinos, and she was also counting on a huge African-American edge. But I keep hearing for days now that the turnout is not very good with African-American voters right now. How bad is it? How upset about that are the Clintons, and do they think it's going to improve in the next day?
Well, that's clearly one of the reasons why they've had President Obama and the First Lady out, and they've done some events with Jay-Z and Beyonce and LeBron James, and they clearly are trying to energize that audience that has not been very excited about Hillary Clinton. And John Podesta, her campaign chairman, said that's not fair to compare her to the first African American president. That they're stimulating other audiences, they're getting more Latinos and that sort of thing. We'll see the numbers tomorrow night. I'm in Pennsylvania right now, which is a state that doesn't do early voting. So we don't have any sense of turnout here in Pennsylvania yet. We don't have any sense of turnout in Michigan, two places that they're both visiting these days. If the African-American vote stays home or just, doesn't turn out in big numbers, that could be a problem in some of these places. And so that's something they've been clearly worried about and clearly trying to address in the final hours. But again, I don't know if these VIP surrogates can hand off their popularity to Hillary Clinton. They're not on the ballot. She is.
Hey, Mike Emanuel, you're great.
Great job.
Will you be at the Javits Center tomorrow night, just out of curiosity?
We'll be there.
Okay, Mike, go ahead.
I'll look forward to being there back in the Big Apple. Westfield, New Jersey, 07090.
Yeah.
Home, so excited about that.
I was actually at the Javits Center on Saturday. They had the expo for the New York City Marathon. So Danielle and I were there buying some things. What a great place. But I may come tomorrow night and hang out with you, Mike. How about that?
That'd be great. Let's do it.
He doesn't mean it. Mike Emanuel, thanks very much for appearing on the Bernie and Sid Show. Good luck with the rest of the campaign, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night on Fox News.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. Back on the Bernie and Sid Show. Listen. This is Election Eve, folks. We're going to take your phone calls. 1-800-848-9222. We had some great callers earlier, made some insightful points that nobody ever thought of. 1-800-848-WABC. Bernie and Sid back after this.
77 WABC. Traffic and Transit.
In Newark, the wreck on...
Two brains, one show.
Guaranteed to be enormously successful.
77 WABC.
Back on the Bernie and Sid Show on 77 WABC. Without further ado, let's go to Rosie from Queens. Rosie, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, TGIM. That's what we say.
Listen, I'm a black Cuban, and I want to tell you, I have 4 sons. My 2 youngest sons, I have 3 who are millennials. They will not vote for Hillary or Trump. These kids, my kids are into rap music. They love Jay-Z, Kanye West. They do not care what Jay-Z says or whatever. These kids do not like Hillary or Trump. So I don't care how much Jay-Z goes out there and tell these young people to vote. First of all, their guy was Bernie. And since Bernie's out, these kids do not trust. My son tells me, I hear the conversation they have with their friends. They don't trust her and they don't like Trump.
You know it. Now, but you're afraid to tell your other family members about your support for Trump, if I'm not mistaken, Rosie. Am I correct?
That's true too. That's why I had to use a pseudonym, because I'm like, forget it. And it's funny because I work at a company that I have a lot of Hispanic who are voting for Trump.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying, Rosie? Well, I think you're representative of that silent majority, and a lot of people are going to come out and shock the hell out of the world tomorrow. Rosie, thank you for your courage and your good thinking on this issue. Rosie from Queens on the Bernie and Sid show. 1-800-848-9222. Mark, Sandy, Dave, Steve, and the rest of you guys. We're coming to you after Known with the News.
77 WABC. News now.
Yeah, and it's down to the wire now. 47 sunny Midtown. Here's the story she'll be talking about. 77 WABC.
This is an Election Central 2016.
77 WABC, where New York comes to talk.
48 sunny Midtown right now. I'm Noam Layton on 77 WABC, where New York comes to talk.
Bernie and Sid on demand.
You never know what's going to happen.
The WABC radio app. Download it now. Upload the BS. 77 WABC.
Is it safe to say that you receive criticisms from both sides in your day-to-day?
It's hard to walk down the street right now.
Yeah.
Because everybody is so keyed up, so on edge. I have this one woman in my neighborhood.
Okay.
She's wearing a leather jacket, leather coat. Every time I walk down the street, she keys in on me, walks right up to my face, and whispers, "Bastard."
That is funny. ABC's George Stephanopoulos, Bernie's guy.
Of course, he's apparently oblivious to him. That's because he's a dishonest, beady-eyed little shill for Hillary Clinton. And nobody likes that kind of dishonesty when it affects our overall well-being here in this country and the election, et cetera, et cetera.
That woman should key his car.
He is so dishonest. He's the face of the dishonest media. This guy, he used to work for the Clintons, and now he's giving money to the Clinton Foundation, and he holds court on Sunday mornings, this week with George Stephanopoulos.
Isn't that amazing? And also,
it's a disgrace.
And it's also on Good Morning America. And by the way, just so you know, even though I'm voting for Hillary, I agree with you. I can't stand Stephanopoulos. I don't like anybody who's on, for that matter. There's a lot of people at Fox News who now I can't stand because they're too much in Trump's camp.
Yeah, but he pretends to be an objective journalist.
Same thing with Fox News. There are people on both sides doing it every single day. Now, the left is worse, and there are more people doing it for Hillary Clinton. But don't act like it doesn't exist on the right. That's silly. Of course it does.
But the right, you have one channel. I'm talking about the
well,
rest.
I agree. I agree.
ABC,
CNN,
he
all
sits
of them.
there and he pretends like he's going to. And Jake Tapper as well. He had this interview with Kellyanne Conway yesterday. I wanted to punch Jake Tapper in the face. Yeah. It was hard. The way he hectored and badgered her, made her repeat questions, asked her about that stupid commercial where said it was anti-Semitic.
Which was that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I mean, if you saw this commercial, it's 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it has a picture of a couple of people. George Soros, who knew I didn't know he was Jewish. Who knew that Janet Yellen was Jewish?
Right.
And B. And by the way, this other guy, Lloyd Blankfein or whatever. But it was a 2-minute commercial. It had nothing to do with it. They'd included Clinton, Obama, a whole bunch of other people who were not Jews. It was unbelievable what he did. He was so pissed off.
He wasn't like that when he was a chief White House correspondent for ABC News, was he?
They have Trump,
it's gotten worse.
Trump derangement syndrome. And, that brings us to, before we go to the phones here, we have... Last night on 60 Minutes, you and I were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
This courageous woman.
Amazing lady.
Lara Logan. Reporting from the war zone in Mosul.
Right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
On the front lines against ISIS.
And not saying a word. CNN this morning must have run this report, Bernard, 20 times. How they were in a fight for their lives with 28 ISIS guys and bullets and on and on. Lara Logan just did an interview. It wasn't even looking for any sympathy or cheers or any of that stuff.
She was there for days and again on the front line. I mean, she's the Ernie Pyle of our fearless journalists.
Yeah.
Brian Williams, Stephanopoulos, Schmuck Todd. I mean, she's got bigger balls than all of these guys combined.
And she actually, for people that may have forgotten, when she was covering for CBS years ago, she was like groped and molested.
It was in Tahrir Square in Egypt during the quote unquote the Muslim Spring when they allowed the Jew hater Morsi to come in. She was actually raped, and they minimized that story. I mean, they totally minimized it. The media did what happened to her,
right?
Which is
but she came out and she tried to not minimize it. She told everybody her story, but the fact that she was raped in the Middle East and goes back there during this in the middle of a war.
But that's the mentality of a lot of the folks in the Middle East. It's a backwards mentality. Women, especially American women who don't cover up, they're asking for it, and that's why they're called. Some of them are called rape refugees, which we want to avoid here. Hey, Let's go to a phone call. How about that?
We'll go to Sandy in Manhattan. Sandy, you're on with Bernie and Sid. Hello, Sandy.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Sandy. Welcome to the show.
Bernie, it's me, Sandy from the Imus show with you. Remember me?
I mean, Sandy from 10 years ago? I do remember you,
13 years ago. Oh, my goodness. You have your own show now with Sid. I remember when Sid was on with you then, too.
Remember when Sid and I had a boxing match?
I know. It's so exciting to hear your own show, but I'm so glad to see how you're progressing and everything's going so well. And I'm here just for a short time because I'm going to move to Michigan, in fact. And
so, move there now so you can vote.
No, I am. That's why I stayed, because I want to vote tomorrow, and I'm going to be voting for who your guy.
There you go, a female Michigander voting for Donald Trump.
Because of the fact that he's, I think my real issue is the pro-life issue. I mean, it's just Hillary is so against all of that, so. And that was the reason. And then I think Trump wouldn't have been in so much trouble if he just said what he was going to do, because he's a smart guy and he wants to change everything.
Yeah.
And,
he went off the rails a couple of times, but we won't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Sandy.
I know.
You know what I mean? Well, listen, it's great to hear you. Great to hear your voice. And
but you know what? You have to tell Imus I said hello. I've been trying to call the show, but no one ever answers there. And it's so refreshing to hear his show. I forgot how talented that.
The Iman's philosophy is I talk, you listen.
Yeah, basically.
He doesn't take phone calls.
Yeah.
No, but he's great. It's so entertaining.
Yes, he is.
I love hearing him.
Still killing
it. I'm glad he talked about Fred the other day, because I was thinking how much I missed hearing him, too. Because
the great Fred Imus, yes.
Such chemistry between them, and you, too, with all of them.
Sandy.
It's just it's another kind of a show. It really is. And they don't exist in Michigan, so I want to say that Imus is a very big talent.
Well, let me just tell you, WABCRadio.com. You can listen to Imus and the Bernie and Sid show. But Sandy, listen, in all seriousness, great to hear your voice. Thank you for the kind words. And, let's drain the swamp. Sandy from Manhattan and Michigan.
The vote that she's take care, Sandy, is in New York, though. She hasn't got to Michigan yet. They could use her in Michigan tomorrow.
No, I think she said she was going.
No, she's waiting till after the election. She's voting here. My friend Jerry from Brooklyn, who lives down in South Florida, he lives in Boynton, I think, maybe Lake Worth, says the mood down here, Sid and Bernie, he loves you too, by the way. The mood down here in South Florida and the senior communities is, thank God it's almost over. The anxiety level down here for this election, from all this shizzle, you can cut with an axe.
Amen to that. I mean, listen, that's true for everybody, everywhere. That is a universal sentiment. Mark from Monroe, New York. Mark, you're on with Bernie and Sid. Good morning, Mark.
Hey guys, one quick thing for your listening audience. I heard a while ago that Bon Jovi and Bruce are doing a little something for that crook tonight, and their taxes that they pay on their estates in New Jersey, they classify their estates as farmland, and that farmland pays no taxes.
Well, hold on a second, Mark. So you're a Donald Trump guy, and you're going to have the balls to call us and tell us that Springsteen and Bon Jovi don't pay taxes when Donald Trump hasn't paid taxes forever?
He paid a lot of taxes.
Let me explain.
He paid a lot of taxes.
That's right.
Check into those guys.
Let me explain the difference, Mark, between what the distinction that Sid is trying to make and what the point you're trying to make, which is that the Democrats want you to pay more taxes. They want everybody to pay more taxes. Yet you have these filthy zillionaire celebrities who use every loophole in the book, including Trump. But he admits it.
Right.
He admits it, and he took advantage. He pays every legal tax that he had to pay, and has to pay. He pays. Otherwise, believe you me, he would have been indicted or something by now.
Well, I haven't seen Springsteen or Bon Jovi get indicted. So after that beautiful explanation you just made, what is the difference between the three of them?
They did it legally.
There's no difference.
No, but the point is that they want you to pay more taxes. They could pay more taxes themselves voluntarily if they wanted to.
And so could Donald. But you're right.
Steve from Basking Ridge, you are on with Bernie and Sid on election eve. Steve,
what's happening, fellas? How you doing?
Hey, Steve.
What's up, yo?
For me, none of them, quote unquote, deserve my vote, if you will. But I go back to what my late dad used to say to me, and that was, better to deal with the devil you know in front of you than the snake in the grass behind you. And that's why I'm going for Clinton.
That's exactly the way I feel. I know what she is. She's a devil. She's corrupt. She's a crook. She's a liar. I've never once defended her in any of those things, but I know where she's coming from, and I'd rather keep stuff status quo than take the chance of a little bit of an improvement or a complete disaster. Donald Trump can ruin this country.
That's the difference.
She won't.
That's the difference between us, me and you, Sadie.
I understand.
The Pilgrim said, you know what? I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to get on the Mayflower.
I'm not doing
and
that.
I'm heading across
to
the new land, and I'm going to try to start a new life. See what happens.
No,
we're going to take a chance. We're not going with the bought and paid for, corrupt, open borders, screw American workers. The cops suck. The cops are racist.
Will you stop?
We're sick of that mentality in the White House.
If it was
and
true,
we're going to vote against it.
If it was true. I got 2 kids. I'm not taking no chances.
Craig from Bakersfield, California. You are on with Bernie and Sid.
Hey, guys. You guys are awesome.
Thanks.
Hey, listen, that guy right now, that guy's an idiot. I'm going to tell you right now, both sides are corrupt.
True.
We got a new guy that's coming in here who's going to shake things up. We were going to give Romney a chance. Okay, he was a business guy. This guy's a business guy. He's going to shake it up. He's going to turn this whole thing upside down, and I think that's what us middle-class guys want.
Yes.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have wiped out the other 16.
Hey, Craig, is there any way you can move to Michigan like Sandy?
Yeah, they need your vote,
because
Craig.
California, your vote, like us here in New York, is
doesn't count.
Although it helps in the popular count, it's not going to count much.
Sid would fit in great out here. I mean,
I know.
I'm in the Central Valley, and we're all conservative guys here.
Yeah.
You can't beat the Bay Area or L.A.
I actually, Craig, I love New York. It's my favorite city. I'm thrilled to God I'm back here. But if somebody said to me, if you can't live in New York, where would you like to live? And
Tel Aviv.
Yes. Carmel, California, around that whole area, Monterey, Big Sur, Carmel. I love it out there. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, my oldest daughter lives in the Bay Area. It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Hey, Craig, thanks,
Craig.
I love you guys.
Thanks, man. Love you too.
Appreciate you listening. Ken from Manhattan, you're on Bernie and Sid on election eve. Ken.
Hey guys, listen. I have good news for the Trump guys. If we lose, if Trump loses, I have very good news.
What is it?
We're going to be able to sit back and enjoy watching the liberals suffer just like they are in Europe from the refugees you mentioned. And when it starts happening, people, Google Muslims on a bus in France. When it starts happening, don't lift a finger. Keep on walking because they deserve everything that's coming. We had a crystal ball on YouTube. They didn't have that 30 years ago in Europe. We had it. And you let it happen, I'm going to keep on walking. When I see the attacks, I don't even think the cops should respond because they did that to my family, not just to themselves. They did that to my family. So you know what? I think Islam is going to spread here, and they're going to have to live with the consequences, and they deserve everything that's coming, everything.
Listen, we should not be stupid or suicidal. You're absolutely right. I don't think Donald Trump
that is an angry. They deserve everything coming. They deserve to die, is what he's saying. The guy sounds like an angry idiot.
He's right about the fact that we should open our eyes, and Trump has got eyes wide open.
Our eyes are open. Trump is promoting paranoia and fear. This idiot believes it, and he's going to be the first guy clapping when people die. That's great, Kenny. Way to go.
It's the reason why England voted to leave the European Union.
And by the way, they're actually upset they did that.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. They moved that decision.
Predictions of doom and gloom, financial doom and gloom, did not come to fruition whatsoever.
Well, it's not going to come here either because Trump is going to lose. You see how the dollar and all this, the market is improving over the weekend.
That's all because it was factored in. That's a long, another conversation. But anyway, Sid, election eve, baby. You excited?
I really am very excited because, first of all, it's exciting. Anyway, it's been a great race, win or lose, no matter who wins or loses. And when it's over, I will not have any buyer's remorse. All I feel bad that it's over. I kind of feel like it's like Game 7 World Series, Cubs and Indians. We got everything you could possibly want. They've left nothing on the field. Let's move on.
It's been very exciting, and you had a great day today. First day on the Imus in the Morning Show.
Thank you. You helped out tremendously. Thank you. I love you. Thank you.
Welcome to back to the jungle.
Thank you.
And you and I, we're in it together, brother.
Damn right.
Back after this.
77 WABC.